La mamá. Qué linda la mamá. Hello, guys. Hello, hello, hello. How are you guys? Don't worry, George is gonna join us. Pat couldn't be here today because she's has some personal things that she has to attend to. But we're gonna have George later on in a little bit. How are you all? I hope you can hear me. Can you guys hear me? Please let me know if you can hear me. And where you're writing from, or where you're watching from. Sorry, I'm going insane. Or where you're watching from, because it's so much going on. I've been thinking so much about family and the consequences because I've been watching a lot of videos about King Charles not being that well and stuff like that. And I'm thinking to myself, well, I lost my father in 2008. And and I was thinking, I can understand Meghan Markle being terrible to her father because this woman is insane. Clearly, this woman is absolutely a terrible person. Um, but Harry, mm, and then and I posted some pictures because a lot of people, we I know that we all seen the pictures of Princess Diana, whom I adore. um like, for example, I'm pretty sure many of you haven't seen pictures like these. Like, I know we all saw the picture of Princess Diana hugging, cuddling with Harry, but not very many people have seen pictures of the at the same time of Charles doing exactly the same thing, which is, it's fair and not fair. And you know very well that I'm not a fan of Charles, right? But it's fair to show things that are right. Like, for example, this picture here that you see. You know, so, or it is. You can see, and there's another picture of them laughing and stuff. But he was there. There's a lot of things that have really, really surprised me, and I wondered, why the hatred. Well, how can this man hate his father so much that he, because I don't know about you guys, but I'm the kind of person that I think, you know what, you have a limited time on earth, right? You have limited time on earth, and let me show you this picture here so you guys can see it. Sorry about that. That's City. So you see, that is Harry. We all saw the famous picture of Princess Diana cuddling Harry, but nobody saw this picture of Charles. Oh, and I want to thank you all for watching, guys. You guys, I don't take you for granted. I don't, I want to appreciate you guys. Thank you. Please don't forget to click like, share, and subscribe. So, yes, yes, yes. Thank you very much, guys. And you're watching from Orange County. Oh, wow. That's pretty cool. Hello, 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 hello. How are you guys? Okay. So, yes, like, like, it comes a point when are we going to say things the way they are? It's I feel really bad. Sometimes I think, like, I know that Princess Diana, everybody wanted to photograph her, and you guys know that in this channel I'm a diehard Princess Diana, right? You are fully aware of that. So, uh, but also that doesn't take away from the fact that Charles was a decent father, and especially after she died, he was as present as he possibly could be. For example, I'm going to show you another picture. I mean, and you decide. I think that they look like they are having a great time. I mean, what do you guys think? So I don't understand it, to tell you the truth. I don't understand why that narrative it's there. I'll show you another picture because I know you guys say that I'm a Charles hater, but I'm not. I just call things out. If you call that hatred, that's up to you. But calling things out, again, I can show you also pictures of him being a decent father. Like, everybody has seen the pictures of Princess Diana running, you know? I've shown this picture before. This is Charles running at the same events, the father. But the difference, I said before, is that the father still The fathers were not taking it as seriously as the mothers. Like the mothers were like in it to win it. I've always said that, right? So, but yeah, I mean, there were many, many times when Charles was there. It's just that the press chose not to show it. And we're all here for a limited period of time. And those constant attacks, it makes me wonder if this guy ever loved his father. I really do, guys, even before Princess Diana died. Because it's just, uh, I don't know, it's just the hatred that it's very visible in Harry's face about his father. And when he talks about his father dying, he doesn't talk about him as, oh, there's no sadness there. Do you know what I mean? There's no sadness, when you look down, it's not like he's dying. I don't know how much he has long to live. And then that smile. It is not, I wouldn't be able to say those things. But I mean, maybe I'm reading too much into it. But I mean, what do you guys think? Because none of us are perfect. There's a lot of things, I wish I had done better for my kid. None of us are perfect parents. We're not, I mean, none of us are Megan, who claims she's a perfect parent, like who writes emails to her kids and stuff like that, which is weird because emails are so unpersonal. Like you would, why not do an audio video, or why not do audio video with your child every day? I don't know. I never understood that. So, but I don't understand where this. And to me, this is not this is why I always say this is not sudden hatred. This is something that had been there forever, that Buckingham Palace covered up. Because the time that Meghan Markle uses to, I'm sure, to write those long emails, if that is true, which I doubt, isn't that a better time well spent simply recording yourself time reading with your child? So your child would have those memories of you reading with him or her? But then again, I may be talking crazy. I don't know. I may be talking crazy, guys. But what do you guys think? Because I don't think that this kind of behavior happens overnight. This kind of animosity. We saw in Spare that he said that he thought about killing his father with a plane or something like that. I can understand his animosity towards Camilla. Absolutely, 100%. I can understand it. But towards his father? Or claim that, for example, he was never on a bike ride and stuff like that when we can see that he was? And the reason why I'm bringing this up is because we know that it's claimed that King Charles has cancer. And yet he's basically blackmailing him into giving him what he wants, or he's never going to see his son again. I don't know about you, but that sounds like blackmail to me. And it's not a very nice thing to do to somebody who's supposed to be dying. We're all dying, guys. That's a matter of fact, okay? So we're all dying. So, I mean, am I reading too much into that? And I want you to please be honest, respectfully honest on the chat, and tell me what you think. Because this doesn't make sense to me. This really does not make sense to me, guys. So I don't know. I mean, I could be off a little bit of the. I'm trying to look for a picture, but my eyesight, it's gotten really bad that I had it here. But I just came from a Spanish live. Oh, I really need to practice more my Spanish. It's just, it's a disgrace. It's disgraceful the way I struggle with the words. Okay, I'm going to show. Here it is. Okay, I'm going to show you this picture here because this is King Charles again. Because also this is another picture that it's come, and we're going to talk about Meghan Markle too, guys. This is, remember how Princess Diana gave the big hug to William and Harry, but nobody showed this picture. Nobody showed this picture, which is insane. And I hear people, and the reason why I'm bringing this up is because I hear people still thinking that they want to bring Harry back to the UK. Am I a fan of Meghan Markle's actions and behaviors? Clearly not. But to place all the blame and responsibility on Meghan Markle is wrong. Because you, I mean, he had two wonderful women. He had Cressida Bonas, who has this fantastic podcast about motherhood, Lessons from Our Mothers, and he had Chelsea Davy, beautiful woman. But the problem was that they thought that he was paranoid, that they could see right through him, and they tried to guide him to be a decent person and to connect with his family. The problem was that these two ladies got along too well with his family. Whereas Megan, it was very clear from the very start, at least for me, and these are all my personal thoughts and opinions. Don't forget to click like and share and subscribe, guys. It's that she was willing to go and basically back him up. Because remember when in the live that I did with Scott Rouse from the behavior panel, and I said, what is the difference between love bombing and narcissistic or psychopaths? Because that means that they target you. In order for you to love bomb somebody, according to him, they have to target you, which means that Harry was a target of Meghan Markle. So, yeah, I mean, and Meghan Markle, it is incredible when you think about it because she's talking about family. She's talking how she's a mom. That thing with the emails, they don't make sense to me. I'm sorry, they don't. And I mean, I just showed you pictures, guys, that are not shown anywhere because nobody has shown that picture of Prince. Well, I would say Prince Charles. Sorry about that, King Charles. Nobody has shown you this picture. This is on the same boat. Remember when Princess Diana gave the big hug and everybody thought that's him hugging his sons, and he always complained and said, "I was there too. He was at the races too. He cuddled Harry too." So to me, it's very much finding a partner in crime. Somebody who told him, very well done, Harry. Not only are you justified for feeling this way, not only what you're feeling is correct, but you're justified. You should get more. Hi, George.
Hi, how you doing?
Hi, gorgeous. How are you? I was
Doing
just showing
great.
some pictures. I was just showing some pictures and stuff of King Charles, the now King Charles that not very many people have seen. Let me show you. I don't know if you saw them, but let me show them to you. For example, this is a picture. Remember when Princess Diana came on the boat and everybody and she gave that big hug to the kids?
Yes.
This
Wow,
is Charles.
haven't seen that and I can't remember when. Wow, that takes me back.
Yeah, and he complained, I was there too. Why didn't you show me my picture?
That's typical. That's typical. But
You
wow,
know, yeah, there's also
you
another one.
always
I'm sure you like this one too. Let me see what you think of. I don't know if you've seen this one.
no, I've never seen this one.
Remember how Diana used to run the races in school?
Yeah, I've never seen this one. I didn't know you did. Wow,
Oh
that's
yeah,
another
you
good
run the
one.
races too.
You always have the great. You always do great research. That's a great pick. That's a great pick.
You know
That's a long
what the
time
funny
ago.
but the funny thing with this picture is that if you look at the pictures with the mothers like women were competitive. I mean, the women, and you can see all the fathers laughing, just they don't care. It's like some of them didn't even finish the line. They were just laughing. You can see King Charles laughing. None of them were really competing. But the mothers, you could see the mothers like were in it to win it. I mean, so you never seen this picture. I'll send it to you.
Yeah,
So you,
send it to me. I've never seen that picture. Nope, never seen that one. That's interesting. It's funny because we were talking earlier today about fathers, and it's just interesting. I wonder how. Think of all the pictures we haven't seen. That show even more of who they are. Yeah, that one I've seen. That's the one. Yeah, all the times that Harry's complained about not getting an extra sausage or not being loved enough or tucked in enough. Yeah, we have pictures. We have proof of it.
And you've seen this one too, right?
No, I never saw that one either.
Well, there's a famous pictures of Princess Diana cuddling Harry. That's very famous. This is in Mallorca, Spain. That's a picture that's done the rounds all over the world. But nobody wants to show that Prince Charles also grabbed his son and cuddled him.
Yeah, of course. You could tell. Look, we can tell by his very actions today in the last few years, just like the picture. Hi, Neely. We can tell that King Charles loves his son. And that's not a bad thing. It's a bad thing when you're a king, when you put your family ahead of your country, because that's one of the things that comes with a job. Whether you're a king or you're CEO of a company, you have to put your leadership position, your responsibility, your duty, your honor has to be for the people. That's the sacrifice. You know, when you read throughout history and people go, oh, wouldn't you like to be royalty? Wouldn't you want to be this? Wouldn't you want to be that? And you think about it, to be true to that calling, to that birth, touched by divinity, as they used to say, takes an immense amount of sacrifice because it's no longer about you. It's not about you, how you feel, what you want to do, what day it is. It's for the people 24/7, today, tomorrow, and the future. And I think he shows always that he loves him. Otherwise, he would have come full bore against Harry.
Full Borg, yeah. Thank you
Yeah.
for using something that I can relate to because I'm not very much a Star Wars, but yeah, Borg, yeah, absolutely assimilate, yeah. But you and I were talking about it because we were talking about our fathers, and George and I were, you using something so beautiful that I just admire you for. You're a kind soul, I gotta say, because if your father had done to me what he did to you, I don't think I would have had that generosity of heart, but you are a different person, clearly. And I think that I don't know if you did it also because that brought you peace.
Oh, to forgive him after he tortured me. Well, it was, I never really reflected on that deeper. It was just, it had been 20, 22 years, 23 years since I had spoken to him. A friend of a friend of a friend of a friend through a relative had said that he was ill in Greece. And so I said, okay, someone's suffering, they're dying. I said, I'm just going to reach out to him, let him go in peace. It's like what he did. You can't change monsters. How monsters win is when they change you. See, what he did, he didn't realize, for whatever sick pleasure he got from torturing me when I was 7, what he didn't get is it helped make me who I am. It's not something that I would wish to happen again, but it happened. I embraced it. It's done. You move forward. So all I could do was show him that look. I guess in some way it was cathartic going, you didn't break me and you didn't change me. I didn't become you. So I reached out to him and say, I forgive you. I may go in peace. I didn't want, but of course he turned around and was like, there's nothing to forgive. I wasn't wrong. I'm like, okay, well, God love you. And that was pretty much it. So
That's actually, but this is the thing that you and I were talking about because I was thinking because we have Megan with Mr. Markle, a father who was actually really present.
yeah.
I mean, he gave her everything that he didn't give his 2 other children by his own admission and by his children's admissions, right? Privilege, a life of privilege, because I mean, her upbringing was, although it was not regal or royal or billionaire by any standard, but this woman went to elite schools. She
Yeah.
wanted nothing, you know. Had a loving father. He tried to have a loving relationship with his, even with his ex-wife's family, because recently his black cousin came out and said that even after the divorce, they really look forward going to the Markle household for Thanksgiving, and because they had a blast. You know, why do you think that is? Because George and I were talking earlier on that I don't know if you guys know this, but the Queen and Charles wanted Meghan to invite all of her family, especially the black side of the family, because that would have been great optics for the royal family.
Oh, absolutely. But like you were telling me, and like we were talking about, the way he paid for the
The
not the
choir, the
orchestra,
black choir, the
the
black choir.
choir. He was trying to make her feel welcome. That's why I found some. I think the greatest damage she did. Look, when it was first announced that Harry and her were together, you and I saw the UK welcomed them. Ooh, cheering, parade, everything. Everything started to change with the wedding and everything after the wedding because you started to see the full mask come off. For me, it was the wedding day when I started seeing the list of people who were coming. Like, she doesn't know Oprah Winfrey, George Clooney. This is networking, Hollywood style. Then her family wasn't there, all that lead up to it. And what you saw was the mask completely come off. So what I would say is people always show who they really are. When it comes to her father, I still, after studying his history, and her own words, the countless interviews over since 2004, 2005, which started, appearing here and there on shows and cameos, between the Deal or No Deal interviews, between the Suits interviews, anything she's ever done, you would only hear her talk about her dad as father of the year, my hero, my angel, my best buddy, my best friend, on her blog, on TIG. And I'm thinking, okay, father, around constantly, loved her completely, unconditionally gave everything to her, and makes one bad choice. One, we're all human beings.
Yeah.
I even thought psychologically, maybe it was the fact that he was just trying to get her attention, like, what's going on? Because you could see that. Something's up here. I'm in bad health. Things are going wrong. I've had a heart attack. I'm getting iced out here. I don't understand because this is the daughter that I love, who's loved me, and we've always had this ex relationship, and all of a sudden it's night and day. Like, who is this person? I could see that. I could also see I could see him wanting to send a message to her. I could also see the fact that he was tired of getting attacked constantly. So he's like, let me show you who I really am. I don't think it ever came from a bad place, but let's put that aside. He makes a decision that she considers to be bad. And you're like, after a lifetime of being a saint, in her mind, committing one sin, that means you're done. And a dad who she called her hero. That right there shows you it's like the heart and character of a person. She was talking to what was her name? Not the Spanx girl. Yes, it was the Spanx girl who was on her last podcast, the founder of Spanx, who started talking about fatherhood, how her dad was there for her. And it reminded me of a conversation that, what was it that Meghan had told Oprah during the interview? She would never do what her dad did.
Because she lost her. And then Harry blaming himself. She has gaslit him so much that he said he blames himself for her losing her father.
Right.
Well, he's there. He's very much alive. He even went and dropped a letter off to her, to Oprah. And Oprah shamelessly didn't give him a chance to give an interview.
Right, but you remember what she said? She would never do what he did to her children. A parent doesn't do that. I was like, wow. Now, let's put that interview clip next to all the dozens so far and hundreds of pictures, images, voices of her kids with the shop mine next to them. And let's see how many thousand more come out in this year of treating the kids like props. And you're not going to do that, dude. It's like, give me a break. See, it's that level of hypocrisy that shows you had a good dad. And you know what I fear the most? I don't fear it. It doesn't impact me in that way. But what I feel is going to happen, God forbid when he passes, you know what she's more likely going to do, right?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. 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 We know where that's going.
Yeah. You know, she's going to come out. Now, let me tell you the truth. Why?
Because the dead can't speak.
Right. Of course. She's going to start smearing his name. And the reality is she has 10 years before. People who are ever abused by a parent, they don't sing their praises and become the cheerleaders for them. And then all of a sudden just flip the page. But I discovered something the other day when I was looking into that with her relationship with her father on the public record. And it was something even you had sent me that we were talking about this morning. I didn't realize that Harry had sent him a text message. If you had listened to me, this wouldn't have happened. I'm like, what kind of a pompous shit is that? Pardon my language.
No, go for it. No,
Could you imagine that? Could you imagine that? What kind of a pompous ass he was if you had to listen to me? It's like, dude, you're the man in the house. You should have helped. You should have come. He should have met him. He should have gone to the father. He should have asked for his hand in marriage. He should have talked to him, introduced him, come meet the family. He did none of that. So that's why I've always said Harry wasn't a boy who lost his way. He's just a person whose hate found a home.
That's a great that's a great line, George. That's a great
Mhm.
line. That's what I was just talking earlier, that, for example, he had Cressida Bonas, who now has a lovely podcast. It's called Lessons from Our Mothers, that I cry every time I see it. And by the way, guys, don't forget to go see the woke monologues with George. We gotta, and also I want you to go nominate George. He's on X. Where is it? Is it on X? Let me see. And I'm hitting you next. Let me see. I want you to go nominate George, and use the woke monologues and put it there so he can be in, what you might call it, in the,
On, on
and Joe
Rogan.
Rogan, because Joe Rogan is asking to let me see that. Let me see, who can he have in his, what you might call it, as
Podcast.
a.
As a guest, he's looking for guests. He's like looking to the audience. Who do you want them to have? Who do you want him to have on as a guest?
So yeah, and use the woke monologue, so you can do that, guys. Here's X thing. So, and I will put the link here, so you can go and recommend George the Giant Slayer, so he can be on Joe Rogan. We can have our George there, yay, yay, yay! So we can do that, because it's amazing. It'd be amazing to get you there.
Uh,
So, but I was, you just said something very interesting too, George, because you said that you wanted to show your father that you were nothing like him, because you're made from different stock,
right. That was
right?
one of the things. Yes, I didn't want him to ever think. A part of me wanted him to know that I forgive, but I didn't forget, but I didn't become who he was. Because a lot of people, not a majority, but there are a great many people who get abused when they're children, and they end up emulating that as they grow up. They become the same thing. And I wanted him to know also that you know, I even told him, I said, what you did for me didn't break me. It made me stronger. So in that way, I thank you for that. But also know I forgive you. Because I wasn't going to let him win is a weird word. I just not winning. I didn't want him to ever think that, well, maybe win is the right word. I didn't want him to think that he ever won. I didn't want him to think that, yes, because he had told me one time when I was younger that him and his father had a horrible relationship. They fought. And this was before he had kidnapped me. He says, I hope one day that we don't become the way my dad was with me, and I don't want to be that way with you. Well, he ended up doing almost the exact same thing his dad did to him. And when I remembered that years later, I was like, yep, there's no way I'm going to repeat this. And so it always reminded me of that. And I had to kind of like complete the circuit, if you will. Like you're making a circuit. I'm like, the final piece is to call him up. And when I found out that he was ill, I was like, this is the perfect opportunity. Let him know all is forgiven, not forgotten, and that he can live out the rest of his life in peace.
But
But
what do
he
you
didn't accept that.
But do you think, George, that, this is the thing that you and I were talking about? It depends on character, because Meghan Markle, um, it's like, to me, it's incredible how they can cut these relationships. I mean, and this is what I was telling George, because I don't know if you know this, guys, but it was Charles' idea to pay for the priest. He paid for all the expenses, and the royal family really insisted, because it was Meghan. They asked for the wedding list from her,
Mhm.
right? Because they had learned their lessons, with, what happened with, Prince Philip, that they didn't allow his sisters of his family, because we know the Nazis, right? So they didn't allow them there. So that was one of the reasons. And then with William, because William was the heir, and William wrote to the Queen and said, um, this is getting insane. Like, because William was the heir, they had to have the heads of states. And then he
Right.
said, and then the Queen said to him, "You do your list and let me worry about the rest,"
Right.
which is what happened. So when they asked Meghan Markle for the wedding, her guest list, she barely gave Doria. And then she had a meeting. The Queen sent her private secretary to have a talk with her. Said, "Listen, where is the rest of your family?" Listen, guys, the Queen was sitting across Doria, knowing full well how terrible the optics were. of Doria sitting on her own like that.
Excuse me,
Charles would have,
mom.
Charles would have killed to have all the black relatives, the cousin,
Yeah,
this
he was
Muslim
welcome. He was. He was. You could tell exactly. Come on. This is someone that he barely knew for a few months, and he was very welcoming. Hi, Martha. Great. Thank you for that. Yeah, because see, my father had been telling everybody in the kind of like the close knit Greek community that he had broken me,
guy.
and that's why I was like, I wanted him to all. But this was years before. This was years before. I had always ignored that stuff. Because in every community it's
Yeah,
small, so things go around. So I wanted him to know that, look, I'm here, I'm thriving, I'm doing well, and it doesn't matter what happens, you didn't break me.
yeah,
That was kind of like I guess a point of health and a point of pride. It's just one of those. I was like, nah, you didn't win. But when it
yeah.
comes to Meghan, you saw everybody that opened up the door to her. They all did. If the queen wasn't welcoming to her, she wouldn't have been there. That's the reality. I think we both know that. If the queen had put her foot down and said, "No, you're not welcome here," that would have
Do
been
you
it.
have any idea how many protocols the queen broke? She had her for Christmas before they were even married, something that Catherine didn't even enjoy. And she invited Doria and her father. And you know that the queen, and this is one of the mistakes that Meghan considered that they made. Because as soon as Meghan, the engagement was announced,
Right.
Jason Kanoff reached out to her father and Doria. This was like they have like this process in place because it wasn't their first rodeo. So the first thing was to get to the father and the mother to protect them, to tell them what to do, and blah blah blah. And when Meghan found out that they had reached to her father, she said no, because even Mr. Markle had come and said, "Yeah, at the beginning, Jason Kanoff was talking. They told me that he told me," and then he went silent.
Well, look at that email though. The one that we were talking about, the one that you had shared with me, the
Oh
one
yeah,
who
yeah,
no, just the fact that she's writing a letter to her father, right? And she's passing it by this guy. Write a damn letter and send it to him. Pick up the phone. But she's like, I don't want this to be a conversation. Again, when you break everything apart, you see how cold everything is, how calculated it is. That's why I always find it very difficult for, what do they call them? The sugars, the
yeah.
ones
Uh-huh.
that support her, the Sussex squad. Is it the
Mm-hmm.
Sussex
Oh yeah,
squad?
yeah.
Okay,
That's us. What?
the Sussex squad. And I'm like, either they're not looking at any of the facts, or they're just blind cultists. Like they don't care. Yeah,
Yeah. This is the
yeah, that's the one.
this is the
So look at it. Where does it say it? It was one point. Yeah, here it is. It's on the first part. It also, my thinking behind this is, unlike a text or email, it can't be forwarded or cut and pasted to only share one small portion. It also does not open the door for a conversation. How cold does one have to be? A man who just had a heart attack, the one who, again, I'll repeat it, gave you everything. You don't want to have a conversation with for a mistake. Now, translate that out. Just as human beings, that Harry in that relationship must have committed a mistake at some point that she in her mind would consider to be a grievous sin in her mind, because human beings make mistakes. They make good choices, they make bad choices. So that's why when people ask me, well, don't you see every day? Look, they're saying how happy they are. They're saying how in love they are. I'm like, I've never met anyone in my life outside of people who just recently fall in love who constantly say how happy, how in love, how great, and how they do. And that lasts a couple of months, 3 or 4 months during that hormone phase. But you
it's
wonder how much she's made him pay for whatever mistakes he's made. And then you start to think, what do the children face if they screw up? Think about that.
today somebody was telling me that from the way Meghan Markle talks, like especially in that latest podcast, it was like she's a single mom.
Yeah,
How she has to do the runs, how she does the school. There's no Harry in the picture.
I
Have you
know.
noticed that?
Have you? But did you? That goes along with exactly the article that came out. What was it, 24 hours ago, 36 hours ago, where they were asking neighbors in Montecito how they view
Mhm.
her, and they're basically like, "Well, we see Harry. He bikes around once in a while, but he's nice and cordial. He'll wave." And they're like, "Meghan, you don't see her. Private, hidden away." And
Yeah.
that's it. You even had the neighbor who took her over. I think he was 85 years old. He took her over a documentary that he had made of Montecito when they first got there, like a welcome to the neighborhood welcome gift. He's like, this is the documentary that I've made of the entire community. You know, he wanted her to have it. He said he couldn't get past the guards first time. He's giving it to Oprah. He's giving it to Gwen Paul. Like everybody's let the guy in because he lives there for 40 years, 50 years.
I mean, if you live there, you're not poor.
Right. But the
I mean,
point
just
is
to
that
start off with, I mean, you're doing okay in life. If you're there, you don't have to worry about
money.
where your meal is coming, where next meal is coming.
But think about the arrogance of that for a second. So this guy has been let into almost everybody's home for this documentary he's made, except there. Not only that, they're like, go away. So it's there is, I have yet to find a public fact that shows she is anything that she pretends to be. Anything. As ever. As
Oh,
ever.
that's a nightmare. That's a nightmare.
Think about as ever. Is it restocked yet? No. And see, there's her father. And I feel for the man because, see, my dad, as I said, was a monster. So it was my grandfather who was my father, who helped raise me. So when I hear, every time I've seen his interviews and read anything from him, I feel for him. Here is a good father who did everything and is still frozen out. And when you get to a certain age, you know, you start looking ahead and you're like, I have
Yeah.
less days ahead of me than I have behind me. You start thinking of mortality more. And you know that the man wants to connect. He's never talked to his own grandchildren or the children
Can
or
you
whoever they
imagine?
call them.
Can you imagine? I don't think she has pictures of him there, but I'm sure that she has pictures of Charles and Diana and the Queen.
Yeah, of course. The same
And
way,
it was
remember?
yeah.
Sorry. No, go
No,
ahead. Sorry.
I was gonna say, and you know that the name Lilibet, and because you were talking about her latest podcast, right?
Yeah.
And she said that when you have a name, keep it close to your chest. Don't share it with anybody. You don't need anybody's permission.
Yeah.
It confirmed what we've been saying. They never asked, and then they had all these articles saying, "Oh, we did ask." And Harry at one point was even going to sue the papers because they had asked permission.
Right. They didn't ask permission. We've heard that from multiple people written. I think Tom Bowers even confirmed that in one of
Yeah,
his books because the fact that that was the pet name from the king for Queen Elizabeth when she was younger and the one that she shared with Prince Philip, that's not something that it's going to have a special sentimental meaning. You're not going to want that to be shared out with other people. It's just certain things, especially what did we talk about right in the beginning when I came on? A king. You literally, I know everybody says, well, look at the estates, look at the castles, look at the property they own. Really, they don't. Yes, it's in their name. Cool. But they don't have anything that's theirs.
yeah. No,
Theirs. So that
that's what the
name,
Crown State.
right, that name was hers. She had it and it had a special meaning to it. To have that taken away from her and by some Hollywood manhopper, yeah, I find it repugnant.
But do you think, and this is the thing that I was starting to talk at the beginning, because I've been saying, my opinion is that he chose this woman because the other previous girlfriends actually got on with their family. In fact, Cressida Bonas, her family is very aristocratic. In fact, they've been very good friends. Her half sister is her father is Bramson, the owner of Virgin, the airline. In fact,
Yeah,
yeah,
Branson.
Richard Bramson. Yeah, in fact, they used to vacation there in his island, Necker Island, with them. That's where Princess Diana went, and so they were very good friends with his family. They encouraged him to be close. Chelsea was excellent friends with Catherine and everybody. She got along great, like a house on fire with everybody. So you see, these two women did not foster or did not encourage the animosity or hatred that I believe he feels. Because, George, it's impossible that you go hating your father from overnight. This is not the kind of behavior that happens overnight. At least not
Right.
not from me. I don't, or any normal human being.
Yeah, I
And
don't believe so.
I did talk about, just let me just so you let me know what you think about this, because he did that BBC interview, and he says that he doesn't know how long the king has, right? There was no sadness there. There was even a smirk that even Scott Rouse from the behavior panel showed it. He goes like, "There's no sadness there." It's like, "Oh, my dad's about to die." What do you think of that?
I was that interview to me put the nail in the coffin for him in his public image, and to show everybody who his character was. People who had forgotten, people who had never read Spare, people who hadn't watched the interviews, on Oprah, people who haven't paid attention. That encapsulated everything from one moment. You're like, my family literally wants me, my wife, and my sprouts dead.
That's
To the
terrible.
next
That's
moment,
really
I want to reconcile. And then the king doesn't have long. Who, by the way, is my dad. You know what I'm saying? It's like, it summed up Harry perfectly. What is he saying? Me, hate, 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 and F everybody. That's what we got from there. What I fault is the BBC, who didn't come back. That's why they put out that apology, because they knew they had been wrong there. They should have come out and said, whoa, wait a minute. Nobody in your family wants you dead. Where are you getting this from? Provide receipts. Well, because they disagree with you with security. Well, there's a very good reason they disagree with you with security. You're no longer a full-time royal. I know you say different. You went to Colombia. You went to Nigeria. You went to Ukraine. Obviously, security is not a problem. We got you on a doorbell cam
yeah.
looking like the DoorDash. You see,
That's
that's
the most stupid thing I've ever seen in my life. I gotta tell you, John.
right. It's not. So that's why I say they didn't hit him. But what you saw was hate. And you're exactly right when you're stating the fact that I didn't see the smirk, but it was the arrogance. It's,
Yeah.
well,
It's
look,
there. It's
you
there.
weren't
When
scared,
what's his
right?
name said, the way he talks is not like, oh my God, my father. Instead of, oh my God, my father has less. We don't know how long he has to live. I'm gonna go see him. I'm gonna see what I can do because he has paid security.
Yeah, you know what he was saying is they're not armed and they don't have access to the intelligence, the IP, he doesn't have the IPP status. That's what he really wants. When he's saying the family sends signals to the world not to protect us, that's BS. They
Yeah.
didn't tell anybody not to protect them. What they're saying is you went your way. You're supposed to pick up the tab for you. You go everywhere. Again, Canada. Look at all the trips. Vegas, New York, Bahamas, Caribbean, Portugal, Colombia, Nigeria, Ukraine. How many places do they go where they do not have armed 24/7 security? Everywhere. Hell, LA is one of the most dangerous places on earth.
I know one time I went for a walk. And my family lives in Westwood area, and I'm used to Europe that you go for walks, and I walk because I wanted to walk down. There's this really cool area where they have these places, and my cousins, and then I was going like for about 2 hours, and then one of my cousins, when he was coming driving back, he sees me walking. It was Pat. Well, by the way, my family calls me Patty.
Patty,
Patty, what
that's
the
nice.
hell are you doing walking in California? Nobody walks here. And it's like, what are you talking about? Just get in the car. What are you doing? People, it was insane to me, but I didn't think about it because, I lived in Europe and
Yeah.
it didn't occur to me that nobody did that. No wonder nobody was walking and then when I started thinking nobody was walking really, um, but it's something, that I was thinking because how can this man, I mean, how can this man, what do you think of, and this is what I say to people, don't feel sorry for Harry.
Mm-mm.
Look at what you went through. And I always say, there's a saying in Spanish, I don't know if you have it in Greek. A crooked tree cannot be straightened out.
Similar, we have one which is like o kleftis ke obseftis modo broto chronia glendai, which is like uh kind of like it's similar, but it's like a thief and a liar can celebrate the first year, and after that it's kind of like all
Oh yeah,
tears.
yeah, yeah.
But it's yeah, we have similar sayings. The point is, you were showing the pictures earlier. His father cared for him. We see through King Charles's action today, he loves him, because he has put his love for Harry above his country. I believe that in what I
Yeah, me
see.
too. Me too.
Okay. So that proves it
100%.
right there. And what is Harry doing to repay him? That interview should have been, you know what? He should have simply said, I lost my case. I believe this is right. The court believed it was wrong. Well, that's it. The most important thing to me right now is my father.
My father's hell, he's dying, that we
Right.
reconnect.
That should have been the most important thing. I want to send him a message right now that I'm dropping everything. Everything. What can I just want to come see him? I love whatever. He would have expressed some affection,
Regret,
some love,
love.
anything. He should have taken that opportunity to say nothing else matters but family. Isn't that what he's always saying? Nothing else matters but family. Except he doesn't mean that. What he's saying is nothing else matters but my feelings, how I think family should be, my feelings to what I want family to be, my feelings to what I want to be given to me by my family. See, I've met people like Harry before. They are only content and happy when everything's going their way. The second it doesn't, they flip out. You hate me, you don't like me, this is BS. That's all it is. It's the continuous, kind of like the way that Hollywood does the virtue signaling victimhood grift. That's what he does. He's like the kind of kid who would turn around when he was a kid and was like, "Oh my God, did you know what you did to me yesterday? All right, what do you want?" You've met those kind before where it's like, yeah, they want to be bought off every second, whether it's an emotional payment or a physical payment, a monetary one. No, what he did in that BBC interview, I think damaged him completely. I don't think there's much recovery from that.
You don't think so?
No, I don't. Because let's talk about it again, Paula. You loved your dad. I loved my granddad. I forgave a monster.
Yeah.
Harry turns around. My dad, because he is the government, the head of the government.
Yeah.
My dad, who is the head of the British monarchy, wants me dead. That's what he's saying. That's what he said. There are members of the family who want me dead. Well, that means his dad leads it. So there's only two options there. Either he's saying his dad's incompetent and ignorant and doesn't know it, or he's in on it. And included in that, you have my dad and my brother who want me, my wife, and my kids dead. There is no recovery. That is crossing the Rubicon. The die is cast. It's done. How do you recover from that? If someone told you, you want me dead, and then the second later, oh God, I wish I could reconcile because life is fleeting. What are you, a nutcase or on drugs? Or you're so filled with hate, you're just jumping from moment to moment and having a temper tantrum. Either way, when children have temper tantrums, part of it is a reaction to what's going on, but also it's like being drunk. The Greeks do have a saying that you always get the truth from children, crazies, and drunks because they can't hold back. But you also, I believe, get it from people who are so filled with rage, they let you see into them. That's why he was jumping in the interview back and forth. Go back through the interview and think about that for a moment. Every time he caught himself revealing who he was, he's like, oh, yeah, but life is fleeting, so let's forgive. Oh, but they want me dead. Oh, but my dad doesn't have long left. You'll see he keeps bouncing back and forth. He's like, oh, shit, what did I just say?
Well, apparently they cut a lot of stuff because he didn't allow it because that was heavily uh Tom Bradby bravely left the question where he said, but didn't you accuse Meghan didn't you and Meghan accuse the family of being racist? And you know what? It really took me back to Norway when I was by the ocean because I used to take my walks with it. And I was so angry because I said that Oprah and Meghan were playing volleyball. It's like, are you saying that they were racist? Or like, if that is your assumption, then it's like, so they would have plausible deniability, which is what Harry said 2 years later. But then what's interesting is that we see that as soon as Harry says, no, well, my family's when did Meghan say they were racist, right? 3 or 4 days later, the book gets leaked in Amsterdam, or I don't know where the hell it was, in Netherlands or something like
I
that.
think it was Amsterdam. Yeah.
That is Meghan. That is Meghan who was angry that Harry contradicted her. Because I am going to say something here, and I'm on record on this one. I am not a fan of King Charles. I find him morally deplorable. However, having said that, you will never have me here say on this channel that he's a racist because I mean, many things, but racist, King Charles is not one of them. That he was not a perfect father, nobody is, but he was a loving father and he cares for this jerk.
Yeah, I wholeheartedly
And that is one thing that I will defend him on. He is not a racist. This man loves, he really loves Black people, or he really loves people of different backgrounds, like he loved going to Brazil. Dancing, and it's like, you can see he loves it. He wanted to, and I think that the mistake that he made, and I want your input on this, because I said this once. Remember in the not Netflix docu, whatever the hell they called it, Meghan says, nobody ever treated me like a Black woman until I got to the UK. They made it an
Oh,
issue. It
God.
was not
Yeah.
an issue. They were celebrating it. And she hated the fact that she was reminded that she was biracial.
Yeah, she said that when she was on the bus, whatever bus
On
or
a car, in
tour.
a what boss? She was in a private car
In
being driven in
car, whatever,
so
it looked like a bus, but you know what I'm talking. When they're asking her, when she was saying that it was her mother who, that was at that moment in the Harry and Meghan. I think it was episode 4 or 5. I just remember
yeah,
it.
I don't know.
It
Really,
irritated me
I
because she
really
was talking
that ring
about
is
her
up there
mother.
for me. If you watched it in real time, I salute you. I applaud you. It is up there for me.
Yeah, no, it is. It's everything you said is spot on. It's the way that they've handled everything. And the way that they've treated the fathers from Thomas Markle to King Charles is reprehensible. And as a parent, right, because they live in the headlines and they do this purposely, and because she now lives online through the Instagram reels and all that, every action she takes is a lesson to the kids. Think about it. She's setting an example, Harry, the same thing, who they are as to whoever the kids are, who they are to those children. What lessons are they imparting to them? And what do we have so far? Isolation, no family relations. Jealousy is number one. Hate is number two, maybe competes with number one. There is nothing positive there. That's why I will continue to say that interview was it for Harry. There's no, remember I said a
You
year
so,
ago,
George, you think so?
yeah, I remember last year I said there was a chance if they ever wanted to, they'd have to.
Yeah.
Yeah, that for Harry, that's done. His family can forgive him all they want, whether they will, they won't. But that interview was it. I mean, you can't say anything worse. I mean, what could you think of worse than than they want me dead? I
And
mean,
your family, because, and you know what's the, and I was watching this because he didn't even say the gray men. And not only that, but he also implied that the same people who wanted her mother dead are the same people who want him dead. And then he goes and pretty much accuses his own father, which is
yeah,
basically accusing his father of killing his mother.
exactly.
Because
You
he
know,
said it's the same people who wanted my mother gone or something like that. He said, you know.
I didn't like, you brought up Tom Bradby in the interview. The one
Mhm.
thing that irritated me again, where he dropped the ball right after Harry's like, well, I didn't say that when you're talking about the racist comment in for the Oprah. The British press said that. That was his exact word. I didn't say that. The British press said that. And he dropped that ball. What he should have said is, okay, what did your statement say by your actions of you and Meghan accepting at the Kennedy Center the Ripple of Hope Award for standing up against structural racism in the royal family? What do you call that? Because
Yeah,
if
but
Harry
there's a
got
difference, George. They will never go to an interview with that is not scripted. In fact, Tom Bradby was not supposed to put that in there. Harry was really angry, and he was supposed to have removed it. This is why relationships cooled off, and this is why he called the BBC now. And he reviewed the interview before it went out because apparently the lady did push back at one point and said, "What do you mean by that? I mean, you can't, I mean, are you implying that the king doesn't want you or anything?" And he just pushed back and he answered, but then they edited. I don't know if you can see the cuts.
right, I'm going
And
to look at that
Harry,
again. I'd love to see the unedited portion because
oh, me too.
that
Oh,
needs to be a.
well, Megan has a nasty surprise coming her way. Spotify is putting a documentary about Meghan Markle's time with the 28 producers.
That will be something to see.
The behind the scenes, and we're not talking, oh, the Duchess gave us cookies. No, the Duchess did not give them any fudging cookies. The Duchess, it's brutal, it's raw, it goes in line with the Vanity Fair part of the interview.
Oh, that's going to be a double
And
whammy. Yeah.
Spotify is angry. Spotify is angry. Ted Sarandos has no control because Ted Sarandos just got one of the highest orders in December last year from the king. The king nominated him. And this is why I tell you guys that Charles loves him because he, and to me, it's not that Meghan is having an affair with Ted Sarandos. That's not it. It's that Ted Sarandos is protecting Harry, and by extension, Meghan gets
The benefits.
the benefits
But did
because
you
she just got it. Did you know
right?
that, George?
The OBE was it? Was it an OBE?
Yeah, I'll show it to you because it's here.
Because when I
Um,
saw it, I was like, wait a minute, what's going on here? Why is Ted Sanders getting this? Why this is going to help Harry and Meghan?
well, it's for Harry, but Meghan gets it, and people are saying and stuff like that, because when you're partners with somebody, you have their logos in there,
Mhm.
you know. It's this is Ted Sarandos, and he's very grateful and he went to the embassy in Washington where he got it, and he's very proud of it. He shows it,
Wow.
and I mean, he is a CEO, guys. Okay, he's not Shonda Rhimes. I can see Shonda Rhimes getting it because she's contributing to, I mean, this is Shonda Rhimes we're talking
Right.
about here. So this is Ted Sarandos, commander of the British Empire, is one of the highest order anybody can get, and this is from the king, bestowed by the king, because there's a committee that they can recommend stuff to, but then the king or the monarch can also recommend it. So this is by the king in recognition of significant contributions to the country. Can somebody please tell me what Ted Sarandos has contributed to the UK other than cuties?
Nothing. And that was disgusting what he did. Yeah, I know. That's why it can only be what you said. It can only be to protect Harry, to feather the nest. There's no other reason. It's the same reason why I started wondering the other day when I read that Instagram post, which looks like With Love Megan season 2, which
Oh,
was all
God.
shot at the same time, is coming out this summer. You saw her? Like she said something to the effect of catch up on season 1 for the
Oh no,
summer.
it's this thing that she posted, but I got the tea on that one, guys. It's on Instagram. It's on Instagram. I'll show it to you. This is funny because this is a guest, okay? But she asked not to be shown because what happened is they filmed 16 episodes, right? This is the one I'm going to show it to you. Wait, they filmed the 16 episodes. There's no season 1 or season
Yeah.
2. No, no, no. But what happened is when they dropped the trailer, they never expected such backlash.
Oh, that was beautiful.
And
Yeah.
not only that, the reviews were in. And not only that, Megan lied to, I did a video about it. Megan lied to Netflix when she said, because remember how Netflix said that they were going to partner and her whole show was going to be showcasing her goods,
Yeah,
American Riviera crap.
I know, but it's an infomercial. Look, With Love Megan is nothing. I think I said it last week one time. It's eight, almost, what was it, 4.5 hours of a televised personality disorder inside a 2 a.m. infomercial. I can only imagine what the next season is supposed to be. I had a friend of mine who told me that because there was a rumor about 2 months ago that it had gone back into editing a next part. That's why I originally, when I shared it, I said there's probably going to be a season 2, and it's not really a season 2. Just like you said, they took the whole thing and just chopped it up. But they're supposed to be showing when Harry and Meghan went to the California wildfires to help. Remember that?
Yes. She went on the Time 100 and said that Ted Sarandos is going to kill me, but Jose Andres is going to be there. The day after, Jose
Right.
Andres was featured with Martha Stewart, saying when they asked him if he was going to be on Megan's show, he goes, "No, I don't think so. Maybe third or fourth season. I don't know." But and now, did you see Martha Stewart? Martha
No.
Stewart is a thug. I
Yeah,
love that
In
lady.
Australia, yeah. Somebody asked her, she's like, I don't want to talk about her.
No, but this is the one that you're referring to. Let me show you what she's saying. And by the way, guys, do you know what really bothers me? Is that when she says and does things, she doesn't give credit to where she learned it. By the way, it's not the way you cut a pineapple. You can do it if you're stupid and you want to do it one by one. Or you can do it diagonally, just cut it in slices like that and then cut it like that. And then you get all the pieces at the same time, right? I've seen some people on TikTok that they beat the pineapple until it gets soft. And no, you cut along the lines of the squares and you will get the same result rather than going by one like this imbecile is doing. I know because I grow pineapples.
Oh, that's nice.
Oh yeah, organic. I have a. But listen to what this moron is saying. Right? Let me mute it so there's no.
People do with pineapple instead of just cutting it to make the perfect little bite. You follow the wedge. When nature has given you all the cues on how to have a perfect taste of something.
Oh, how fun is that? I love it. It's easy. All right, is it gonna work? Am I good?
It's great. That trick that people do with pineapple, instead of just
Where did she get that from?
It's her, yeah. But what's really interesting here is why didn't it make it to the show in the first season? She said because a lot of people didn't want to be there. And one of my sources, I'm going to send you who my source is, George, and then you'll understand when I speak about my sources.
Yeah.
It's this person, and you're going to shake your pants to see who it is. But one of my sources is that Meghan Markle currently is reshooting the second season because the people who she shot the season with, they no longer want to be a part of. This lady was supposed to be she wasn't supposed to be part of the first season. There's no first season. It's part of the 16 episodes, but she backed down. So Meghan, being spiteful, still has access to that little footage. So she's putting that clip with that lady. So people know that this lady was supposed to be here on her show.
Yeah. So she's basically in Greece, we would say, I'm trying to translate it in English. How would you say that? It's like we have a saying where it's like I'd cook the fish on your lips. It's like when someone wants to get back at you or to make sure that everybody knows, but at the same time burning, like, you didn't want to be on my show anymore? Cool. Here's a little clip. It's
And you know
very,
what
that's why she has no one. That's why she has no one who next week she said she's having a bonus episode of
It's the Beyonce's mom.
Beyonce's. And so why not Beyonce?
Didn't she call her my princess?
Yes.
My princess.
Yeah. Why not Beyonce? Why not Taylor Swift? Where are all the A-listers?
Oh no, Taylor Swift shut her down.
Yeah,
we saw that beautiful picture with Prince William, and we saw Prince William shaking it off, that gorgeous man, I just want to show you who this guest is that Meghan Markle didn't put on, okay? Because she didn't have anybody famous. She has 9,000 followers, and basically she's a masseuse.
Okay.
These are the kind of guests that Meghan Markle was securing. Now, she said Ted Sarandos is going to get me because on second season I have Jose Andres and Chrissy Teigen. While they had this, I want you to give me your opinion on this, George. Because Harry's didn't they just do that thing in New York of the parents who lost children to social media?
And then they turn, social media, they're the parents. And then they turn around and parade the backs of the kids, the sides of the kids, the hands of the kids, the voice of the kid. Yeah, they do the exact opposite.
But having Chrissy Teigen, you know who Chrissy Teigen is, right?
Yeah.
You know what she did, right?
Yeah, when she's told that minor to...
a little black girl of 8-9 years of age. And this lady is Stoughton, who was 16.
It's horrible what she told her. And that's why I said there is the people... It's like, show me who your friends are and I'll tell you who you are. The people that Meghan hangs out with mostly either don't know her, are coming because of Netflix, and the ones that actually truly know her are of the caliber and character of Chrissy Teigen. Chrissy Teigen, who told a minor to do herself harm. To do herself harm. That's a bad decision, because when that comes out, see, I don't think Ted Sarandos knows that. I don't think Netflix executives, they're not paying attention to that. They're running multiple different shows. But when the clips start coming out to promo that, you're going to see that all over the internet. And then you're going to see
I'm going to go hard on that one because I'm so anti-bullying. I mean, you have no idea how anti-bullying I am, But it's okay. It's really intense. I got to tell you, it's really intense because the interesting part, because I did a video with, you have to check this YouTuber. Her name is Star Chairs. She's incredible. She's really great. I did a video. She actually works in Texas. She's in Texas, and she works for politicians. She does PR for politicians, and she has a degree in business. She's amazing. So she knows what she's talking about, and she talks about from the brand point of view, PR point of view. She's in Texas. She's very much like you, George, if you know what I mean. So, and she works for these politicians, and she does their PR and all of these things. Her name is Star Chairs, and she was here 2 videos of mine ago. She's amazing. And then, and she was going like, Chrissy Teigen hasn't said anything. It's People magazine that came out. Can you imagine how bad your brand has to be that Chrissy Teigen is not boasting about being on your channel?
Right. I'm just saying the best thing or the worst thing that can happen to Meghan is when that Chrissy Teigen episode comes out. Because you know that you at least know half the Daily Mail, half the press, they're going to cover it. Because when they cover it, when some of the people, when the comedians and the late night hosts make fun of Meghan, you know where Saturday Night Live is going to go, look who she had on. Somebody who's telling her audience to off itself. Like,
I wonder if they're going to come with suitcases, food in suitcases, and they're going to open them.
yeah. Who knows? We'll probably
Girls
get
or something like that.
I mean, they might as well just put an ad. Harry needs new hair plugs. Buy now. I mean, as ever's going nowhere, she announced the other day, no new products coming out till 2026, which is basically.
Isn't that fraud? Can't you ask? Because she sent letters saying that she wasn't going to reimburse, but that when the new edition came out, that she was going to send it as a gift.
I'm sure they have to. They're going to have to fulfill, unless they want to get sued. They're going to have to fulfill whoever ordered anything. But the point is she just started the company. What is it? 60 days later, it's like, hop, we're done. That's it. Let's go home. We're going to try something new. I saw, well, who was it that wrote it? I don't know if it was the Daily Beast or it was Daily Mail, but someone made a mention of, she was looking at, it was not only fashion. She wants to go into fashion and cookware.
Oh, God, yeah. Well, you know the real reason why she's not doing As Ever.
Yeah, there's no, I'm sure Netflix is pulled out and there's no product. Nobody bought it.
Not only that, if you go to the United States Patent Trademark Office, they have to publish, when you want to trademark something, they have to publish in the official gazette for opposition. And she got opposition from 3 companies because the problem that she has is that the As Ever that she wants to trademark has sound, video. It's like a film production, photography, prints, hospital. I mean, everything that you can imagine in the world is under that umbrella. The problem is that you have As Ever photography trademarked. You have As Ever sound trademarked. You have the As Ever Chinese company worldwide trademark for all kinds of clothing. You have the As Ever NYC, although they're not trademarked, but they have apparently some common law rights, and Gwyneth Paltrow is following them and not following As Ever Meghan.
Yeah, it's the same thing that happened with American Riviera Orchard when the trademark office like you can't trademark a region, a geographical region, because that Santa Barbara area of Montecito is called American Riviera. It's the same thing. It's the same thing with Harry going to China to arrive on the day that you had King Charles in Canada. It's like, so the 16th time this year, you have the Meghans, either both of them together, individually, always coincidentally happening to release something, do an interview, a podcast, a show on the same day as someone in the royal family. Always.
Which is stupid because that only makes their brand even worse. Because they want to piggyback off the royal family's, thing. By the way, guys, I just want to say, I want you to go to Joe Rogan because he has, I'm going to share the screen. I want you to go to Joe Rogan's. Click on the link and recommend George the Giant Slayer as his guest. He's asking, who's one guest you'd love to see Joe Rogan interview that he hasn't had on yet? Joe Rogan, you haven't had a bunch of people on. You're just scratching the surface, buddy. You should go back to your roots and remember, get interesting people, not just, really well-known people, because nowadays, people like George, don't you agree, guys? I mean, your story is absolutely kick-ass. So
if it can help people, I hope so.
No, you help people. I mean, you're much kinder than I am. I can tell you that. When I read that message you sent me this morning about your dad, I was like, I wish I were a better person.
No, it's not about being a better person. It's taken. I had anger. I had anger at times, but it's just been, I guess it's a stubbornness inside of me. I just refused to have him win. I did not want to. Didn't want to get down in the dirt with him that way. I was like, you know what? A great part of me was angry for a short while. But then I just realized I have to rise above this. I cannot.
What did your mom think?
See, that's the thing. The story gets more interesting is because the fact that
your mom, I don't know how I felt about that.
No, my mom was almost broken from it. After he had taken me, after he had kidnapped me, she had a breakdown. So I'm off there. He's bouncing me around the world until we end up on the high mountains in Greece near the Bulgarian border.
You didn't speak any Greek at the time, right?
Very little, hello, how are you? But within a couple of months, I was pretty much fluent. I didn't have a choice because he wouldn't let me speak English because I kept talking to people. Anytime I could get away, I was like, hey, I'm American. I'd like to go home. But no, it broke my mother for a long period of time. What's worse is when I got back, my grandmother knew. That's an even longer story we have to talk about. My grandmother knew what I had suffered. And the first thing she said to me was, look, George, because I was like 8.5. Yeah, about eight. And she was like, your mother is broken. You cannot tell her what you went through. Not now. She said, you're going to have to be like your Ya's grandmother in Greek. You know how I went through the concentration
She was your
camp?
paternal grandmother.
Yeah.
So she's the mother.
No, my maternal. When I got back, when I was rescued and I got back to the U.S., right? My mother's mother had pulled me to the side and she says, do not tell your mother what happened. She's broken. She goes, remember I told you about my stories when I was in the concentration camps and how I kept strong? She goes, you're going to have to be that soldier now. If you tell her, you're going to shatter her. And so for the first couple of years, everybody called it the vacation.
Are you serious?
It drove me crazy inside. I'm like, what a fucking vacation part of my life.
I'm sorry. That was not it. I don't want to go on those kinds of vacations.
It wasn't a vacation, but that continued until I was about 16 and a half, 17. I was like, okay, I've had enough of this vacation. It was not a vacation. So yeah, it was to protect my mother. And then she was okay. And I started telling her. And
what did she say?
It was hard for her, obviously, at first. She's like, really?
But when your father died, I mean, did when you went to see him?
Oh, they knew all that. Yeah.
Did she feel weird, or did she agree with the decision for you to go see him?
No, I didn't see him afterwards. I saw him a few times. He came to America. Oh, that's.
I mean, you saw him when he died.
No, I called him. I didn't see him. Okay. Yeah, no, I didn't go to see him. As a matter of fact, when I first called him, because I didn't know if it was the correct number. Again, I hadn't spoken to the man in 22 years.
Wow.
I was like, is Menos there? And he's like, who is this?
That's a very Greek name, Menos.
Yeah, Menelaus. Menos. Yeah.
Yes.
And so is Menelaus there? And so he's like, who is this? And I was like, it's George. And his first words, I don't have a son named George. I didn't say son or anything. He's like, oh, okay. Anyway, so I said Baba, which is father in Greek, because I didn't like calling him Menos. It just felt weird.
Yeah.
And I said, it's George. And that's how the conversation started. I said, I just wanted you to know, I heard you were sick, that you're not doing well. You had a heart attack, something like that. He's like, I'm fine. Don't worry about me. I have a son who's dead to me, who I sacrificed everything. I mean, the one you tortured. He's like, that's to save you.
That to you?
Yeah. I was like, he's like, yeah, he always said, I did it to save you.
This is why I'm telling you that people who are narcissistic, they're going to go to the grave. They're going to go to the grave. Meghan Markle is going to go to the grave with this shit.
Oh, yeah. That people. So that was at the point I'm like, okay. He's like, I'm cooking eggs in the background. I don't have time. What's going on? Oh, and then he's like, I heard you got married. That's what it was. It was so funny. I didn't even know. He's like, I heard you married a German woman, not even a Greek. So he even betrayed. I was like, oh, here we go. Nutcase. I'm like, okay, you go cook your eggs. I forgive you. Wish you long and healthy life. Bye. He was like, bye.
That is insane. And this is the thing that reminds me, because Harry's saying that he forgives them.
Yeah, he doesn't forgive them.
And Meghan can't forgive her father. Well, she says that people they both talk forgiveness. Yeah. And Harry says, oh, I forgive my family. I can even forgive my dad. I can even forget. Even the press I forgive. For what? For exposing them?
What did they do? I mean, when you think about it, when you break it down, what did Thomas Markle do? He did the exact same thing that Meghan did. You got paid for pictures. If you want to break down just fact for fact.
Yeah.
To send her a message that dad's alive, had a heart attack. You want to give me a call? That's what I take from that.
Well, that's what Harry's doing right now. That nobody's taking his calls at the palace. He's pretty much doing what Mr. Markle Sr. was doing, going on giving interviews, and each interview gets worse and worse and worse.
Yeah, I feel very bad for him because he has come out how many times and said, look, he has admitted it. He is a human being. I'm sorry. I'm not one of those people. A lot of people you meet in life, you'll do 9 good things and the one bad thing erases the 9 good. I don't like that. It's never the
But
way
it
I've
wasn't,
been.
and this is what
I
I
know.
differ with people. He didn't do anything wrong. What happened is that
Correct.
the press had because Meghan didn't allow the palace to protect her father. They protected Doria. You didn't see anything about Doria.
Right.
So when Meghan found out that the palace, out of their own initiative, because they had this protocol, they immediately, okay, we're going to look after your father. They located the father. And when Meghan found out, and then, like Mr. Markle said, I got this phone call that I have this Jason Knopf, and now he was going to handling if I had any questions, which was a great thing. When Meghan found out, she got furious with the palace for interfering with her family. And you were asking me today, why didn't they do that? Because it's her family. They can't interfere with the family. It's like.
No, I agree with you. What my point is if you take it that he did something wrong, like let's just say we give that to her for a second.
Yeah.
He did one mistake. It would be no different than what she said, and it would only be one thing. By her own accounts, a decade of public posts, TIG, and interviews where she praised him. One thing the person did, one insignificant. At best, insignificant.
But she had been benefiting from her father's fame for years.
Right.
In fact, she had been naming her father everywhere to get herself in when Trevor Engelson couldn't get her in. When she went on the United Nations, whose name did she say? Her father's.
What about in Argentina using her father's brother? I mean, the whole.
Yeah.
It's
but you know what I mean? She's been using her father even in the thing. Oh, my father was, even when she did that interview that she did with guys, help me out. Not Ross, Jonathan. I can't remember. Ross, something like that.
The late night show host.
Yeah, that she said, my father's is an Emmy winning the DP director,
Right.
And I mean, she would use him to brag and to get herself ahead and to do that. And I know for a fact, Manuela, the lady who's the owner of Isomer's in Canada, Meghan Markle would go to restaurants and say, this is when she started dating Harry. And it seems to be much earlier. I'm going to send you that clip because I don't think you have that clip from the guy who did in 2015. He recorded with her Dater's Handbook in November and December of 2015 in Vancouver.
Okay.
Monahan, his name is Monahan or something. I have the clip. I'll send it to you. And then he says, because they asked him about Meghan Markle, and he says, well, she told me that she had been married, that she was living with a guy she didn't like. And then I said to her, why did you marry somebody you weren't into? And why are you living with a guy you aren't into? She wasn't living with a guy. She was engaged because then we had the Suits director come out and said that when he met Corey in 2016, he was introduced by Meghan Markle as her fiancé.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that one.
I'll send you that article. I'll send you the article.
Yeah, I didn't know that. That's interesting. I didn't know because there's so much information. It's like, wow, I like that. That's really
this guy
cool.
gave this podcast. This guy gave his podcast because he's found Jesus or something like that. And then he said, and then when we were about to the movie premiere, is in March, but in February he received a text message from Meghan saying, "I've dumped the boyfriend." Right? Don't forget, George, that she had just come back with him from being in Iceland.
Right.
In 2015 in January, he was living with her.
It's funny. I started to build because I've been working on this longer, bigger video about them.
Yeah.
And I started tracking her. I went to her IMDb page, right, to see everything from when her first role was. And I started doing the research to see how she got the role, or was there any information available? And I started looking at who was she involved in a relationship with. And what you start noticing is that when she's with Trevor, the companies that he's working with at the time, she gets parts with. He works with the next company, she's getting parts with. He gets the next company, everybody he worked with, she started showing up in their productions for their studio.
And he had to fight to get her in because she was so talentless that because he was just one of the producers. You know that he was the producers. You know they were Mandy Moore was the big star when they did License to Wed, and there was Robin Williams, Jennifer Gardner, this guy who's married to Emily Blunt and stuff like that. So they lived in Jamaica. So Mandy Moore said, "Yeah, this was in 2016." So they spent quite a few months in Jamaica, right? And then and Mandy Moore, this is yeah, and then it was Trevor, but he couldn't get her in because she was so bad. The other producers, you know, even though he was a producer, he did give her. She did get a couple of lines in "Remember Me" with Robert Pattinson.
Right. I think this is one of the reasons why Hollywood has such a difficulty with her. It's not only that she's toxic as a brand and they don't want to be near that. Not only the fact that they can't trust her, so they can't let her into their inner circles and their big parties, but it's too, Hollywood is shark infested waters. People fight, they work, they sweat. Look at Tom Cruise. Whether you like him or not, I have a great deal of respect for him. I view him as like one of the last movie stars. A week and a half ago, he releases his last Mission Impossible film, Mission Impossible Final Reckoning. He has gone all over the country and all over the world promoting the film, talking to fans, going to the rope lines, going into the movie theater, showing everything that he's done. Not only does he do his own stunts, but Monday, I think it was Monday morning or Tuesday morning, he released at 7 a.m. a thank you note where it was this whole page where he's thanking not only the theaters, the studios, the people, but he's like, you, the audience. I was like, when was the last time you heard an A-list celebrity turn around to the audience, not attack them, not blame them, not calling them bigots or racist
or anything,
but thank them? And he goes, I owe it to you. The man is grateful. And I was like, have you ever heard Meghan Markle or Harry turn around and say thank you to anyone?
Oh no, it's always a victim thing. It's always a victim thing. I'm going to send you some pictures if you're putting a timeline, because I'm going to show you this picture, for example. This is a great picture for you to have. And I'm going to send you all this stuff from Tumiyuki. And I'm going to send you that article because this guy, this Monahan, said that Meghan Markle texted him to tell him that she had dumped Corey Vitiello in January, which is a lie. And then in March, before the premiere of, which was early March, of the Dater's Handbook on 2016, in February, she texted him saying, I started seeing somebody. And he said, that was fast. I'll send you the podcast and the clip so you can watch it and you can actually put it there. And then the guy goes, yeah. And then I didn't hear from her until October. I suddenly get a text message from Meghan Markle, October 31st, which is when Camilla Tominey published that article saying that on October 31st. So this is why I always said that Meghan Markle was her source, because Meghan Markle started texting everybody. Because she texted him and she says, out of the blue, I got a text from Meghan Markle October 31st telling me, today there's an article about me, dropping about me. And remember the guy I told you that I was dating back in February? It's Prince Harry. So that thing of July is BS.
Yeah, I agree.
And no, but this is the thing. This is in July 22nd. This is from Meghan Markle's Instagram account. I don't know if you know this, but Corey Vitiello has a very successful chain, which is very delicious. His specialty is roasted chicken and very beautiful salads.
No,
It's
I didn't
called
know that.
Flock. It's called Flock. It's all over Toronto. It's a rotisserie. So, and he has his salads and stuff like that. So, Doria, this is in July 22nd, 2016. Now, not forget that Meghan had already had her date with Harry. And Doria it's for Doria's birthday. So Meghan Markle thanks Eat Flock for the food because Corey came and cooked for them. This is before she went to Botswana, because she dumped them after she came back from Botswana because she felt that she had sealed.
She felt like she had hooked Harry.
Exactly. Oh, I mean, this is insane. I mean, and the worst part of it all is that he was the one looking after the dogs. I have the whole thing. I'll send you all of that because Tumiyuki, you know that Tumiyuki used to be a part of the Sussex squad.
No, I didn't know that.
And then she realized this is all BS. So she has everything from Meghan Markle. And you know what I mean? I mean, everything.
Yeah, no, I got you.
And then because they were like, this is another thing here that this is very interesting. I don't know, what am I doing? Preview? No. Okay, that's not
What do you think, real quick, about there was a reporter yesterday who was saying, and I believe it was in the Daily Mail and in the Express, they kind of like sometimes copy each other. They were asking the question, is Meghan Markle really dumb that she keeps destroying herself in this delusional manner with these, with As Ever? They were talking about As Ever. You know, she puts out the product and it doesn't restock for 2 months. Then she says it's not going to be back till 2026. And then she puts the post out with the vegetable basket. Like, look what I picked from my garden, when they're stating that half these vegetables aren't in season. So you know that she went to the grocery store to pick them up or send someone to pick them up, especially the way they look, all manicured and polished and ready. They're like, lettuce doesn't look like that when it comes out of your vegetable garden. Corn,
Yeah.
you know. So they said, or is she now decided to play purposely like the heel, to be the bad guy? And so now she's doing these things. I was like, yeah, I don't think so. So my question is, do you think she's doing this purposely? Or do you think she's just as delusional and just narcissistic?
You know, I actually talked about it with Star Chairs, and I asked her, and she also was shocked. She said that she has no shame.
Yeah.
Because you see, she just went on Time 100, and she said that everybody who knows her knows that jam is her jam. No, this is in Time 100, that everybody who knows her knows that all she wants to do is make jam. She did that video. Oh, jam is my jam. Netflix, I got partner. Netflix is going to distribute my jam. I mean, this is just, when was this, the Time 100 thing? This was
3.5 weeks, 3.5, 4 weeks ago. Yeah.
Yeah, right. And now it's like, and if it's so successful, I can tell you, you want more, because if you want to become a billionaire and your product is sound like you claim it is, you put more of it. It's just jam. Go buy some at Woolworths, because people are buying it because it's hers. Go buy some at Walmart and put it in your, like, just print the labels and smack that crap on it and say it's mine and share it there.
You know what I think is funny? I'm going to share this screen with you real quick.
Yeah. Go.
To me, this shows you exactly what Netflix really thinks, besides all the BS that Ted Sarandos has reported. This is Netflix Bites. This is Netflix's restaurant.
Oh, they have restaurants?
They have two. One is in the MGM Grand in Las Vegas. And what they do is they take their hit shows, or what do they consider their hit shows, and then they turn it into, like they have a Bridgerton tea and like a WWE.
Oh, like a theme thing.
Right. And so I've talked about this before. You're going to find all their shows on here. You know whose show you're not going to find? The one cooking show that they supposedly pulled out. There is no Meghan. There is no With Love Meghan. There's no, buy a Ziploc bag so you can pour popcorn in. There's none of that.
Isn't that stupid? And this is the thing I was talking to Star Chairs, because I said to her, and she's like shocked, because not only does she make herself look bad, but the people who are backing her, because now Netflix, Ted Sarandos came and clarified that they're just passive, like we're just passive, investors. But she makes Time 100 look bad. And I said to her, she is used to people cleaning up her messes. She doesn't care, because, it's like, I said I wanted to do jam is my jam. I know I said American Riviera Orchard. I know I said this, but she doesn't care, because she's used to. She's never suffered consequences to her actions. And she's still being covered up and protected, because she's still married to that idiot. And I have bad news for you guys. Even when they get divorced, she's still going to be protected by the royal family, just like they protected Fergie.
I don't know. I think it might be a little different, don't you think? Because
Well,
she's going to go scorched earth. She's going to go scorched earth, because Netflix is waiting for that divorce so they can hand her a big fat check so she can just lay it out. I think she's going to go scorched earth. She's going to turn totally on Harry, of course. But I just wanted to point out that Netflix Bites menu for 1 second. They're her partner in As Ever. You think there should be everything on there, As Ever jam, As Ever honeysuckle, As Ever. There's nothing. Bupkis. Nada. Zilch, zero. That to me says it exactly how much faith they have in this product. None.
But she makes him look bad, George. Don't you think that also the people
100%.
that she's with because now she's made the Time 100. This woman who basically was fawning over her. Oh, we know you love making jam. And what make you make jam? And you have to go watch jam. You have to, that fucking jam,
And it didn't tell. Jam, cool. I can say cars are my jam. I'm the greatest racer on the planet. If I can't win a race, it means nothing. It's in my head. She could say jam is her jam from now till the Jolly Green Giant comes home. Nobody buys it. It means nothing. On top of it, if she had actually done the work and made the jam herself, there are a lot of stores that they go, this is homemade. Because remember, that's what she originally wanted to do. This is I'm going to make you the Montecito jam, my home. It would have actually had at least a little bit more worth because you would have been, hey, people would have had more curiosity. There's something there. You're buying it, something she handmade. She didn't even do that. She went with Snow Commerce, who has more complaints against it than most
They've got
companies.
both products.
Yeah. They're crap. They're crap. Just bad.
And what do you think? What do you think about the way she's using different children and passing them as her own?
See, that's the thing is I started looking the other day because it was that podcast, her last podcast. She said she gained 65 pounds during her pregnancy. You heard that?
Yeah, that's bullshit.
And I was just like, so I started looking up pictures of what that looks like, because it's been a while. And so I was like, and I was looking at her pictures, and I've stayed away from this about the kids, but it's just my curiosity lately. When you have free time, I started looking, I'm like, okay, her hands don't look like they gained 65 pounds. Her ankles don't look like they gained 65 pounds. Her waist doesn't look like she gained 65 pounds. I'm like, what is going on here? Whatever the deal is, I feel sorry for whoever or whatever those kids are that they are calling their own. If they're theirs, if they're from a surrogate. I find it odd that there are no pictures of them, not even from paparazzi. And there are scumbags out there who'd sell them to anybody. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, none. It's like, you mean driving to school, grabbing us? How many times did we used to see pictures of the royal family, like just in a Land Rover, just driving by and someone would snap a pic? There's nothing like that. It's odd.
This is Kim Kardashian who actually gained 65 pounds, but then we found out she had preeclampsia. Mm-hmm. And this is why she used surrogates afterwards, because once you have preeclampsia and you have a certain age, this is Meghan Markle. The reason why she talked about it, George, is because she said that everything went on her stomach. So I talked to the doctor, and he said, and he basically 30 pounds. If you go over 30 pounds, especially Meghan Markle's, her starting weight, her body mass index is very much a deciding factor. Clearly, there are variations. Right. But for a person like Meghan Markle, if you go over, let's say, 40 pounds, right, it goes all over the place, because the uterus, he basically goes, you get 4 pounds of extra blood because your body creates extra blood for the baby, 2 pounds the boobs, 1.5 the placenta, 4 pounds of the water weight, but that is much later, that they call the water when at the latter stages of pregnancy. And then there's 7 pounds that your body stores as fat for breastfeeding, because it needs the energy in order to produce the milk. So we're looking at everything should swell. Right. She said that everything went to her belly, and she said that's impossible. The only way that it could happen is if she was carrying twins or triplets.
Okay.
Because, and then you include the weight of the baby and stuff like that. Kim Kardashian had preeclampsia. And
didn't Meghan say that in her... I'm sorry.
She said she had postpartum preeclampsia.
Postpartum, that's right.
But even then, because she doesn't say which child, it couldn't have been Archie. Because no doctor on earth is going to patch a woman after she had 2 epidurals and within an hour dispatch her back over to... Because I had Jennifer.
Yeah, that's not possible with an epidural to get up and go take a bath.
I had my son with an epidural because I had a C-section. Henry came 1 month earlier. But and Jennifer Lopez with twins, she gained 50 pounds. And you can still see her swollen. I have a picture I'm going to show you guys, because she did gain the 50 pounds because she was carrying twins, and you can see, but you gained the weight. You gained the weight all over. Even Princess Catherine, who was fit and everything, you can still see, there's a bit of weight gain. You can't, it's biology.
Yeah, it's not possible to fool that.
And she says, "Oh, my tiny ankles." And because she watches us and she knows that
Yeah.
her pregnancy has come under scrutiny in the mainstream media.
Hold on. Here's a picture. Oh, let me pull this up for you.
Mhm.
I want you to see this real quick. Daily Mail always is weird with the stream. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Here we go.
Because,
Here it
yeah.
is. I got. Oh, see, I knew it would do that. There we go. I don't know why, but Daily Mail always, because it has so many bloody ads on it.
Yeah.
It's like freezes the. I wanted to show you a picture of Princess Catherine when she was pregnant. Taking a
Ah,
look at.
I can get you Princess Catherine pregnant. That's not a problem.
Okay.
Princess Catherine heavily pregnant. Then I can show you them. There
Yeah, I
we go.
wanted.
This is going to be the pictures of Princess Catherine heavily pregnant. Don't forget that, okay? Let me see. Images. Here we go. Because she went out a lot, when she was pregnant. And she was like, what you might call it, here. This is Princess. I'm going to see if I can show it to you here. You can see her. Here, there's some pictures. You can see her here. Let me see this article here. They're comparing her to Meghan. No, that's
So I
not the
wanted
one.
to see. It was the ankles. There was two pictures they showed where they had her full body, and you could see the ankles.
There's
How
one
they had
here. There's
swollen.
this one here. You
Mm.
can see her, but you can see her swollen ankles. And I remember there's a video that I've shown of Princess Catherine when she's about 6 months pregnant. Meghan was part of the Commonwealth with Prince Louis, right? And they come out of the Commonwealth visit, the church, right? And Princess Catherine is trying to bend to receive the flowers, and she's like 6 months pregnant, right? And I just don't want to show. For some reason, they always mix Meghan there when they're trying to show Catherine. I don't want to show Meghan. I just want to show Catherine. You know, and she couldn't bend all the way
Oh,
like Meghan does.
well, there's a good picture. Go right above. Click above. No, up a little. You had the
Down.
one with no down. Yeah, one more. There you go. See there, she's pregnant, and Megan's next to her. See if Megan's wrists look the same
Oh no, she
when.
gains weight. Look at this one here. Look
What?
at. I'm sorry to be disrespectful to Princess Catherine, but I just have to say, even look at the boobs.
No, but what I'm saying is Megan's wrists here are no different than the picture that you showed next to
Yep.
Kim Kardashian. But you can tell that Princess Catherine has changed. My only point is, whatever those kids are, she said in one of her podcasts that the one with Jamie Kern-Lima, who sounded like Alvin and the Chipmunks, like she had smoked helium or sucked it down. She said that she takes the kids to school on mornings that, she's not busy or whatever, and the nanny doesn't do it. And you're like, okay, so you're telling me that there's X amount of schools in Montecito and the surrounding area. They're probably going to be private. So that you take, okay, here are the 5, 6, 7 private schools. Not one pap has caught a picture of them driving to school. The nanny, Meghan, Harry, the kids, nobody. My point is, what is going on there? The paparazzi should be curious because that's how they make their money. Someone should be asking. You've been asking the questions.
I've been asking the questions, but I can't ask the questions. Yeah, but I want to see this because I actually want to show you this. What do you think, though? Do you think that okay, we're not speculating something about, but because guys, the thing is, people ask, why do you care? Because they are in the line of succession.
I care because it's a lie. I don't. I tell you, you had asked me this 3 weeks ago when I came on. Yes, being in the line of succession, that's one. For me, it's even more than that. For me, it's the fact that they have put themselves up as an example in today's society, especially when you have Western cultures decaying. When you have two people like that who represent to me the epitome, kind of like the pimple of cultural decay, when they lie back and forth, when they are hypocrites, what the role model that they are putting up there, that people still follow them, shows where we are at in society. If this was 20 years ago, Meghan and Harry would have no followers. The fact that they have more than 5 that are related to them shows a problem. That's why I always talk about it. And when I look at the children who I've never talked about, except because I always said they're kids, I'm going to talk about them one day. And I'm still not talking about the kids. I'm talking how they have used and manufactured this image of children. Except we know celebrities. We've seen royalty. It is not possible not to get a snap of the children. Something is wrong there. When something's wrong and when your lizard brain tells you, you want to investigate it. You want to figure out what's going on because we've seen how many lies they've told. What else is there to uncover? That's my take.
But what do you think that they do that for?
I don't know if it's to bait the press. I don't know if it's to create headlines, but there's something there. What exactly it is, sometimes I think it's more for what they used to call misery marketing. You know, they want to give something out to constantly tease it so you can keep talking about them. But still, to use children like that, they're no longer children. They are props. To me, that's a bad thing to do. It's no different than when you had celebrities in the past who would use their kids in order to boost themselves to get a little bit of an extra headline, to help at a movie premiere. But this is worse because you're talking about babies, little kids who've been cut off from their family, right? And at the same time are being used to merch. I just find that repellent.
But don't you find that, for example, people say, don't you find that that could be like a form of abuse?
Emotional abuse, yeah. I could see that because they're being used as
Because
props.
these kids are going to grow up.
Yeah,
and they're going to read all this insanity of the parents that they have.
The abuse that's happening is how they've been cut off from everything, and now they're only being used to advance two people's image. That's the abuse that I would find. They have no grandparents except for Doria. No attachment to relate.
That's not a good role model.
Right, but no attachments to cousins, uncles, aunts, nothing. So you remove that. So they have that emotional element gone. Now you have them only being propped up and shown affection and expressive love through social media, which to me, in my mind, means as long as you are positive, a net positive to us being Meghan and Harry, we will keep promoting you. I still think that they're going to start showing the kids in the next year. I think that what this entire thing is about is that Meghan is trying to create a sort of teaser trailer, like a movie. She shows bits and pieces like Bigfoot sightings. Look at the hand, look at the eyes, look at the back of the head. And then one day she's going to bring them out. That's what I think. For some
But don't you think
product
she needs
line.
the permission from Harry to show them?
Whether she does or not, that I don't know. I don't know the legal terms of it. If she requires it, I have no idea there. What I know. What I don't. But it just feels to me that that's what's happening. Because the way she's rolled it out, it feels very Hollywood. You're getting glimpses. You never get direct shots. It's always a shadow here, a profile here, a side picture here. It's never, here is my child. Look, they're playing a game. They're building a robot. They're doing a toy. Nothing. Something about it just feels off. Like you're building a product line.
But do you think that Harry's part of it?
Harry's part. I wouldn't put anything past him. That's how I'll say. I just don't put anything.
But
I know a lot of people are going to.
He's really traumatized though from being persecuted or whatever the hell you want to call it.
If he was so traumatized, I would put it to you this way: we wouldn't see a picture of them anywhere on any of her. Not on Instagram, not on us ever, nowhere. That's why this feels off to me. Because someone who faced the trauma he did, the one that he explains, the pain that he's faced, that one that he's gone through, and the way that he stated he wanted to be so protective of them. Well, he's done the exact opposite. Is it protective of them to cut them off from their grandfather, the king? Is it protective of them to cut them off from their grandfather, Meghan's father? Is it protective of them to cut them off from their family? Is it protective of them to put them on social media? Like the questions answers how Harry is acting. Is it protective that they're gone half the time? I mean, is that a type of protective parent? Yeah, we're going to the Bahamas this weekend. We needed a rest. Wow. 3 days later, we're going to the Caribbean. We need another rest. Oh, a week later, we're going to go to Portugal. Then we're going to go to Vegas. It's like, who's raising the children? Nannies.
Yeah.
That doesn't sound like someone who's putting children first. It
And
just
you can
doesn't.
see that even Princess Catherine here. Sorry, let me show you her arms because she, you know how she's very slim, but look at her arms here. How she gained weight. She's much, whereas Megan's arms and legs and everything, they never gain any weight. You're gonna see her because as the thing progresses, you're gonna see her ankles get a little bit swollen. Like this is what a real pregnancy looks like. She's at earlier stage. She's like 5 months there, and she's getting there a little bit bigger. But you can see that this lady is
Right.
and you're gonna see her walking. You're gonna see her walking, and you're gonna see how she's you're gonna see her ankles pretty soon, and you'll see that she's swollen, and her arms are swollen, her hands are swollen. At
Yeah.
one point, she couldn't even wear Princess Diana's ring because her hands. Look at her. Look at her legs. Look how they're. Look, because she's got beautiful legs, but even that look. And she's at the latter stage. She's about 6.5 months. Like it's a normal pregnancy. This is her look. You can see her gaining that. Like look at her face.
Yeah, her
Arms
hands
are
right there.
bigger. Look at her arms are bigger. Look at her face. But her knees, and she gained the weight even when she's getting out of the hospital. You can see her. Like look at her legs there. She's so cute. I really like her. And it's like her legs are heavier. Her arms are heavier, which is why she's wearing those bigger things on up because her arms are actually quite slim and muscular. So she has gained. She does, and with Megan, it's not like that. And for me, it's the deception of it all. To tell you the truth, George.
Yeah, it's a lie.
And that she never seems to face the consequences. And this is the thing that it really, really bothers me. That this is when we go back to the brand, that she just moves from one thing to the other and forgets that she said this weeks ago.
Right, except the difference is I think the consequences have actually caught up to her.
You
Think
think?
about it. Oh, yeah, I see.
Yeah.
Look, it's because it's diminishing returns. We're no longer in it. I've said it before and I'll say it again. She's acting like she's living in the late 90s before the internet exploded and everyone is interconnected. Every time she does something like this, it's now recorded. It's now clipped. It's now online. It's now in papers and magazines. So there's a diminishing return. You can only rebrand, repackage, relaunch so many times. If this was 4 years ago, do you think As Ever would have been a hit?
No.
I think it would have 4 to 5 years before Harry and Meghan.
Before, okay, yeah.
Yeah, like before they did the Netflix thing. I think it
Oh,
would have been a big
yeah.
hit.
Oh, yeah. When they left, they were hugely popular.
Right. It would have gone through the roof. Now, they've had one successful show, Harry and Meghan, where they made money by slinging mud at the royal family. Invictus, Live to Lead, Polo, With Love, Meghan, flop, flop, flop. American Riviera Orchard didn't even get off the ground. Spotify, flop. Lemonada Media, not getting paid for it, so it doesn't matter, flop or not, but it's a flop. It got knocked off in 6 days off of the top 200 list.
Well,
Now you have As Ever. A company just starts. All we heard for months was, I can't wait. I'm excited. This is it. Here we come. We're going to conquer the world. And then it's like, well, we'll be back to you next year. It's like,
maybe. And then this is the thing that, what do you mean she has to study the numbers? What is there to study if you're that successful?
well, when you study the numbers, but you don't stop your business to study the numbers ever. You can't go, hey, I'm going to close down so I can look at my books so I can get back to you. No. You have to keep a business going. How could any product sell? You think Nike turned around with their first shoes like, okay, we got 1,000 of them. They sold out in an hour. Okay, we got to go back, take a year off, and then we'll come. No, you don't. You have to keep selling. You keep adjusting on the fly. That's the whole point. But no.
It's like this is the As Ever, which was actually, she just changed the name from American Riviera Orchard to As Ever Official, and she stole the logo from a Spanish town. And this is, I mean, what is this? This is not a business.
No, it's an emotional, it's mood. She's selling moods. That's the reality. She's trying to sell a mood, a vibe.
This is Archie inappropriately grabbing her, according to her. And why is, I think, you know what? I think she mixes it up because she has both accounts. So I think that she puts some things by mistake in other accounts. I mean, what does this sell to you? This is another account of Meghan Markle.
Yeah,
That's it.
she's in mood. She's selling mood. She's trying to sell moods, this mystique. She wants to build a legend around her, this image. And she's trying to get you to do it. See, the reality is when you start a business, you have to put everything into it. Some of the people who've come on her show, the lady who founded Spanx, actually explained it very well if you follow that. But it's work. It's 18 to 20 hours every day, day in, day out, refining, running, working, sweating, bleeding. It's not, well, let me work an hour a week, get a couple of assistants on it, package something together, throw it. That's why these things will not succeed.
I can't wait for that Spotify, because Bill Simmons has no love for Meghan Markle. So they're using, actually, because they were also filming while they were doing it. So they have the 28 producers are going to get paid, but it's not all 28 who are speaking. Apparently it's like 20 only, but still it's a lot, who they're going to talk about their experience, and they're going to show footage and what a nightmare it was. And they're going to pay for that. And I can guarantee you that people are behind the scenes with Meghan Markle. What is the real Meghan Markle? I think that there's a lot of things that Meghan should have thought of, before she. And I think, what, at the end of the day, no matter our family, you don't trash your parents like that.
No, and you don't. And you keep dirty laundry, as they say. You don't air it in public. You just don't, especially for money. I mean, how low can you get?
It is. And, and if the king is sick, with cancer, and Harry's saying, I don't know how long he has, but if you want to see me, you have to give me what I want. That's blackmail. And then Meghan Markle, saying she doesn't have a father anymore. Like,
think how hurtful that is. The man is alive, and he has been by her buried.
I did a video about it that I said that I feel bad for Mr. Markle because he doesn't get the message that she basically said, you're dead to me. That's what she said in Oprah. I no longer have a father. And then Prince Harry goes and says, because of me, she lost her father. What do you mean? Why don't you say instead, her father fell out with her? But when he lost her father, it's like, oh my God, he died because of her.
Right.
Because of him.
But that also should have showed the world who Oprah was. Because Oprah, remember her whole thing, emotions, positive healing bullshit that she tried to sell everybody. She should have turned around and said, well, Meghan, wait a minute. It's just one little thing. That's your daddy. He loves you. You said you love him. You should get back together. Like, she should have brought them together, but instead she fed the machine. This is what Meghan wants to hear. This is how I got Meghan.
It is a sad thing that somebody like you could forgive your father. Harry and Meghan, who preach forgiveness, they say, I forgive you, Dad, as long as you give me what I want. And Meghan, who preaches forgiveness, won't forgive her father, won't make amends. And it's very rich in that last podcast, like you said, that this Spanx lady talks about her father being important.
Oh, yeah.
And Meghan, I mean,
she was explaining it like he was her board member, I think, for the first several years. Like, she was basically explaining, like, he was there every step of the way. When they had board meetings, she goes, my dad was there. It's like, he showed up. We had a meeting. We talked to the company. Her dad never left her side. Listening to her reactions was interesting because
what did she say?
I don't remember every word because I was.
What was the feeling you got?
What I got a feeling was that she was trying to mirror the other person. Like, yes, I can understand this. Yes, I can see this. But there was nothing coming from her.
Nothing like, because my father was like that.
What is she going to say? Right. Is she going to say, yeah, my dad was there the entire time for me, and now I've screwed him over?
And where I am, he gave me the education.
So I could then stalk a prince and turn him into a frog?
Yeah. It's absolutely insane. Well, anyways, guys, we're going to go, but I want you to go to Joe Rogan's, and we have to make sure that you guys, that you tag, you bring clip, get the link from that I posted through the entire thing. So you recommend, this is the link that you recommend George as a guest for Joe Rogan. Please, guys, do that and recommend him as a guest. And that's the link, that you go and link George the Giant Slayer and to get him on the guest spot and watch the woke monologues. God willing, things are gonna have a huge change soon for George as well, which is gonna make him even bigger. Because we always wish people well here, especially George. You are so amazing. I mean, you are such a
No,
sweet
you
soul.
are.
No, 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 no. I'm spiteful. Uh, and
Spiteful.
I admit it. I own up to it. I have
But I
no
don't think
problem admitting it.
But you know what? I don't think you're spiteful. I think you, just like me, you don't like liars and bullshit. That's
You know,
it. There's
I'm
nothing
gonna say
wrong with that.
something. I had this topic with P. Dinah because of a situation that arose in the past week and a half. And I'm like, and P. Dinah is like, Paula, you have to forgive. And I said, P. Dinah, I am Old Testament. I am not New Testament. And Peter is like, no, Paula, we love New Testament. We love New Testament. And I'm like, I still have the Bible from my family, the Old Testament, which has almost
All right.
181 years. And I said, I'm Old Testament. I mean, I don't know whether there's the difference between vengeance and justice. It's very
Big
thin.
deal, yeah. Yeah, but I like
What
to,
is
I
the
believe in
difference?
both.
What is the difference between vengeance and justice?
Well, one is not to fulfill some emotional need for blood, but you want to balance the scales. It's like you don't want, I'll put it to you this way. You don't want someone to go run over Meghan Markle. You want you want karma. You want karma. You want what she's done to be exposed so she can't continue to hurt people. That would be justice. It's like why we have the law. A murderer, you don't want him to murder other people, so he
No,
goes
no,
to
no, no, I
jail.
don't. No, I don't want that. I know.
Oh, but that's why I'm saying that's different. I believe in Old Testament and New. Put them together. I like wrath, but
Oh, right.
sometimes wrath is best served. Kind of like they said
This
it. You can do it
cold.
cold and sweet. It doesn't always have to be. Look, one of the things that helped get me through life is I noticed this real quick before we go.
No, you know that this is
Something.
your channel. You can come. I
No,
can even
no.
give you the password. I don't care.
No, I'll give you an example. It's like when you want to accomplish something. Like I look at a lot of things that are corrupt in our culture lately, right? And there are people who get really passionate about it, get really angry. But see, anger that just is fury, it burns itself out. But cold anger is committed. It's patient. It takes it
Targeted.
and it goes, I am going to change this. It's like woke for me, right? I want to annihilate woke. But
Yeah.
to do that, I'm like, okay, I got to target it this way. I got to take it apart piece by piece. And I think cold anger sometimes serves people very well. But it's the same thing. You're seeking for justice. You're seeking for balancing of the scales. So I believe in that the same way you do.
No, I agree. But for me, it's like I don't tend to react. In fact, I tend to take a lot of abuse online. You know that, and it's very few times that I react when things get too far and I need to take action. But other than that, I actually let it slide. Sometimes I laugh even. And I saw this thing from this guy, George. Actually, I was going to post it because I thought it was incredible. I think this gentleman, I follow him. He's a negotiator. But this is what he actually said. I don't think I posted it, but let me just see if you can hear it here.
Okay.
Person doesn't like you. They team up with another person that doesn't like you. And before you know it, there's a whole slew of people that hate you. But here's the thing. Those people, they don't even like each other.
That's true.
Because of you. See how powerful you are?
I like that. I was going to show
Well,
it to
it's very true when you think about it. There are a lot of nuts today. People who can't stand themselves, so they hate the world. Broken
yeah.
toys who want to break the world.
And the thing is, I want to clarify. My channel is not about hating Meghan Markle. I don't know this person to hate her.
Right.
Okay, but I do call things out, and not only her. I've called Ilaria. I called Alec. I called everybody. I called Biden. I called all kinds of people. I called that dude that punched that woman in the Olympics. I don't know if you guys know I'm a Catholic. I did a video, and I mean I did a couple of videos. I hate Jeffrey Marsh. I am against Dylan Mulvaney now. I mean, I think that Jean Paul Gaultier wants to commit career or brand suicide by having men there. I criticize everybody, but the thing for me is I'm Canadian, so I don't understand lack of accountability, which is why your woke monologues got to me.
It
'Cause
drives. You know, the boxer, by the way, just got removed yesterday. Can no longer compete internationally.
what do you mean?
The
Did
boxer
he?
who beat that woman almost to death.
The Italian one? The Algerian guy?
The Algerian guy. They said he would have to provide documentation, medical proof that he's a woman.
You
The
mean that he's
IFF.
XX chromosome? I mean, can you believe it, George?
I can't. I know it's insane. The dude's a
Can we
dude.
believe it? This is 2025, guys. And we have to, the Supreme Court of the United Kingdom. I usually have Matt the Angry Bootneck. I had him here yesterday because he used to be a Royal Marine, but he works for Elon Musk. He actually had to travel to Cape Canaveral today. And then he's like, he's not woke, he's British, right? And he's like, he keeps getting suspended all the time. He just got a suspension again because he criticized like what was it, some trans guy or something like that, but he does it in a very funny way. He's really funny, you know so and I have these videos with him, and we do them all the time, and we're talking about Brigitte Macron bitch slapping Emmanuel, and it's like, and then Emmanuel try to say, or their people try to say, oh, it's Russia misinformation. It's like, we saw it, dude. You
Yeah,
were
we saw the videos there. You got pimp slapped.
and it's like, this is what drives me insane, that we're seeing it, and they're asking us not to believe what we're seeing, and it drives me
Exactly.
insane.
I know. It's nuts.
You
It's
know, so,
insane, the stuff that goes on.
and tomorrow you have a live coming up, right?
Yeah, I
Okay,
have a
have a
lot.
live. Now, I know that a bunch of you are going to rewatch this. I hope I'm going to keep my eye out on seeing who's recommending George. Don't forget to put his link on there when you recommend it, so you make it easier on Joe Rogan. Okay, so all the girls are putting everybody's recommending. So
Thank
it's
you.
going to be amazing. It would be amazing. It will be amazing to see you in Joe Rogan,
I'll
because Joe
go.
Rogan, it's why do you only have famous people? Screw that. George is famous, like, yeah.
I
So I
appreciate
mean,
it.
so I really love you. Thank and appreciate you taking your time to being here. And please,
Always.
tomorrow you have a live, and go vote for George, and do watch his woke monologues. It's gonna be at the end of this live video. I'm gonna be putting it at the end, so you can just click it and see it, and it's been screened throughout everything. So thank you for coming, George.
Thank you. Always love seeing you.
I love you. Bye bye, guys.
Bye.